12.4, volumes of prisms and cylinders, two shapes that we previously learned how to find the surface area of. The shapes themselves will be the same, but keep in mind we are now finding volume, so make sure you're using that formula and not the one from previous lessons. Formula for volume is as follows. Volume of any prism is equal to capital B, which, like it meant before, is the area of a base, times lowercase h, which is the height. And then example 1, we'll jump right in. I'm going to go ahead and kind of show the depth back here. So we got that, a little bit low there, and more like that. Okay, so when we're working with this thing, we're going to be able to decide which one is our base, and I'm just going to go ahead and choose the bottom side here. So that's what I'm going to choose as the base. I usually like to label it. It could have been the left, the top, the front, the back, whatever. If it's rectangular, you may choose which base you use, but stick with whichever one you choose. And if that's my base, that's also the other base on the top. So that means the 7 has to be our height. So to find my volume, I would take area of the base, which is a rectangle, so 8 times 6. And then times the height, which is 7. So just key that in as it is. 8 times 6 times 7, and you should get exactly 336 feet cubed. When you're doing volume, notice my unit there. It is feet times feet times feet, so it will be units cubed, or to the third power every time. Next one, same directions, we're going to find the volume. So our formula is, again, volume equals area of the base times the height. This time, our base must be that triangle, because these two triangles are the only faces that are parallel and congruent. And I notice that it's equilateral, so I'm going to manipulate that fact a little bit. If it's equilateral, it's also got to be equiangular, so that's a 60-degree angle. So when I drop that down and make that right angle, that's got to be 30 degrees. And that's getting a little cluttered, so I'm going to go ahead and redraw that out here by itself. So again, we knew that was 60. That was right. That was 30. And then the problem, the whole side was 7, so the part that we're using right now would be half that, so 3.5. And my goal is to find this height. And I'm doing that because to find the area of the base, it's a triangle, so it is a half base times height. So we're going to go from the 30 to the one across from the 60, so that's multiplication by root 3. So I would write that the height is 3.5 root 3. So when I go to my formula, volume is area of the base, a half, times the base of the triangle, which is 7, times the height of the triangle, which was our 3.5 root 3. And then times the height of the whole thing from base to base is 15, so that would go there. And then we could just key that in as it's written, a half times 7 times 3.5 root 3. If your calculator puts a parenthesis there, make sure you close it, and then times 15. And when I do that, I got approximately to the nearest tenth, 318.3. And again, units cubed. Take some time to look this one over. If there's anything you don't get, feel free to rewind and rewatch it. Go through the steps again, because you will see ones like this on your assignment. Example 3, same directions. We are again finding the volume, but this time, if you count the sides, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are dealing with a decagonal prism. The volume is still area of the base times the height. Since it's a regular one, to find that area, we're going to use the half times the apothem times the perimeter. So I need to know the value of that apothem. So that goes center down, and we know that's a right angle. What we've done in the past is figuring out that angle. We take 360 divided by number of sides, which is 10. Gives me 36, and then we divide that by 2 to get the half that we're dealing with. So that tells me that is an 18-degree angle. Once I know that, I could think, well, this side's 5, so if the whole side's 5, what we're actually working with for a moment is half that, so 2.5. And then I would look at, compared to the angle, that's opposite, that's adjacent, so tangent is our thing. So we are going to set up a trig formula with tangent of 18 being equal to opposite, which is 2.5, over adjacent, which is A, times by A, divide by that. So our apothem is 2.5 over tangent 18. And now we can find everything. So volume is going to equal area of the base, which is this thing, so a half times our apothem, which was 2.5 over tangent 18, times the perimeter, which I haven't found yet, but if there are 10 sides and each one is 5, I could do 10 times 5, times the height, which is base to base, so that would be our height. And then we just need to practice typing all of that in. And if done correctly, I'm getting approximately 2,088.5.3. And that would be millimeters cubed. If you need to watch that again because this had a decent amount of work to it, I would rewind it, look at it again until you understand it. I'm moving on though. The other shape we're working with today is the cylinder, and the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h, where r is our radius and h is the height. And then example 4, that would be our height. The 16, since it's all the way across, would be our diameter, so half of that 8 would be our radius. So then we would type out, or write it first, pi times radius squared, which is 8 squared, times the height, which is 20. We would type that in, and I am getting that the volume is approximately 4,021.2 meters cubed. So make sure you can type that in and get that. If your calculator gives you the answer in terms of pi, make sure you convert that over to a decimal. I do not want 1,280 pi, I want the decimal. And then last thing, volume of oblique solid, so that would be a new term. If you look at the picture though, you can probably figure out what oblique means. It basically means we take a prism or we take a cylinder and we kind of push the whole thing so it's kind of slanted. That does not change how you find the volume at all. So for a prism, it's still going to be area of the base times the height. So the fact that it's slanted over like that doesn't really affect us at all when we find volume. So I'm going to use the bottom as the base. So when I say V equals area of the base, that would be 7 times 4 times the height, which would be our 3. And if you type that in, you should get exactly 84 yards cubed. And that's lesson 12.4. So if there's anything again that you don't understand, feel free to ask to have it rewound and watch something again. Otherwise, work on the assignment until it's either done or you're out of here. And this one will be due next time.